Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
David, the Oilers will never win a Stanley Cup with that damn Stuart Skinner in goal. Something's got to give.
Something did give tonight, Kurt.
Sure did.
7-3 loss. A 7-3 loss to the Wild of Minnesota. The grade A shots were perhaps more indicative, though, of the flow of play. They were 24-15 for the Oilers. So the Oilers had a significant edge in grade A shots. But on the most dangerous shots of all in this game, the 5 alarm shots, it was 11-10 for the Wild.
Yeah.
So the Wild had the best opportunities where you really expect the team's going to score about a third of the time. But when it came to, really good overall shots, the Oilers had more.
Just wasn't a 7-3 game at the end of the night, even though the scoreboard said that.
It was probably a 1 or 2 goal game. If all things being equal in net, the Oilers probably would have, let's say, lost by or won by a goal. They had lots of good chances.
They might have. Yeah.
I don't know if it was funny because did Wallstead stand on his head? It didn't feel like that.
No, I think he played well. I don't mean to degrade his performance, but I thought a few just hit him. I thought he was fortunate because they found their way through traffic and just hit him. And as we know, a couple went off the iron, which I guess the goaltending union always tells you that means because he didn't give them anything else. But I'm not so sure about that. Always a little bit suspicious of that.
That's a good way to frame it if you're a goalie.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be some truth to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, Kurt. 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. What is your good thing?
I will go with Leon Draisaitl, who I thought was quite good tonight, but the reason I'm picking him tonight is because of his 1-0 goal, the goal with which I thought Kasperi Kapanen had a huge role in creating with the hard forecheck and the hard hit along the wall. Leon cuts into the slot and just a hard wrist shot beats Wallstead, and it's 1-0 at that point. Nice goal, but the reason I'm picking that is because it was career point number 1,034 for Leon Draisaitl. It ties him with the great Mark Messier for 4th all-time on the Oilers. Jari Kurri is next up at 10:43, McDavid at 11:76, and Gretzky, of course, at the top at 16:69.
He's tied with Messier. Wow. That is a heck of an accomplishment.
Back when he was drafted and back when he signed the contract that so many people said was the worst contract in NHL history, here he is tied with Mark Messier for franchise points.
Kurt, I loved that first goal. It was a great way to start the game. They've been having crappy starts recently.
They have.
And, they actually did give up the first grade A shot a minute in this game as well. But that line is it is a really good line. And it's a heavy hockey line for the playoffs. Draisaitl, Podkolzin rushed in and rushed the Wild defender on that goal as well, and then Kapanen rushed the next defender, and then Bouchard pinched down, and it went to Draisaitl, who just made a spectacular shot. Excellent line, and I note in particular how much confidence Kasperi Kapanen has been playing with in recent games since he came back from his injury, actually, and it's unexpected. To me, at least, to see this. Listen, he was waived through the whole NHL except for the Oilers picked him up there, so it's not like it's unexpected by most people who watch hockey. I think to see him step up so dramatically for the Oilers. He's playing like a top 6 forward for sure.
I knew he had the wheels. I knew he played a heavy game. I did not realize he was this good of a stick handler.
He can still make turnovers, and he made one that made a nasty little play in the Oilers zone that Emerson squelched in the slot when he shut down Kaprizov. But his stick handling, Kurt, especially in the last few games, there's been a couple times where he's been spinning with the puck, stick handling, spinning again. Unbelievable puck control. in the offensive end, like just which signifies a player both with skill, but also now with the confidence and the talent to display his full game. And I just think it changes what the Oilers need at the trade deadline, possibly quite significantly, to have Kapanen step up like this.
Well, it's a trio that you feel comfortable with in the playoffs because they can play a couple different kinds of games, right? So they can play a heavy game, they can play a skill game. They're not slow at all, So it's I'm with you there. You pretty much have ticked that box. You can go to work on the other spots of the roster that you think need shoring up, and there are a couple.
And between McDavid and Hyman on the top line, they can also play pretty heavy hockey. And Nuge is also
Nuge has got the old man strength.
Kurt, my good thing is the third line, which has been a area of concern. There was a lot of people who were excited, and I was excited as well, when Ike Howard joined Matt Savoy and Roslovic on the third line. I was excited because it's great to see Howard get a chance. He's crushing it in the AHL. And these are all highly skilled hockey players who can pass the puck and make plays.
They're a bit small.
But they're too small. They don't have a center. They don't have Jack Roslovic isn't a center in the NHL. He's not a defensive center. Certainly not like on a third line where you got to at least saw it off and you can't give up goals against.
Agree.
He is a great attacking winger, and tonight he was.
He's probably a top six winger.
He could play in the top six. And if there's an injury, let's say in those top six in the playoffs, Roslovic will probably slot right in there.
He's got 15 goals.
But anyway, he got one of them tonight. Just a great face-off wing. Josh Samansky's first point in the NHL. Darnell Nurse takes it right around the net, swoops around the net, puts it out front, and Roslovic slams it home. Roslovic was in on a number of grade A shots. So was Samansky with his big aggressive forechecking. Every period he was in on the forecheck and had some real success. They were cycling the puck very well, that line. And Matt Savoy, people who have watched Matt Savoy in Bakersfield have a very high opinion of him, which unfortunately I haven't been able to share. Because in the NHL, I don't think he's yet, or maybe until tonight at least, I don't think he's brought his best game. I think he's played with a lack of confidence, and he's trying. But it was like recently, I think he's decided that he's not going to try. He's going to do. He's going to get it done. What did Yoda say? There is no try.
Do or do not.
He is made up his mind. Like, if he's going to fail, at least he's going to give it all he's got. And he's giving it all he's got. And he's trying to make plays. And he made plays tonight. He took a pass from McDavid and put it off the post in the first period. He blocked the shot quite courageously in the slot in the first period. And he had a couple dangerous shots in the second period. He played a good game. Roslovic played a good game. And the really encouraging thing, the Oilers have desperately needed a third-line center who can skate, who can defend, and who can forecheck, who is a strong, big player up the middle of the ice. And again, the people who have been watching Josh Samansky, who's now 23 years old, who have been watching him in Bakersfield, said this guy's the real deal. Like he's dominating even strength play at the AHL level, which isn't that surprising. He's 23. He was a really good player in the German league last year. He was not a good major junior player. He came over here as a teenager and he had limited success in major junior hockey, but he went back to Europe, had a mediocre year, and then he's just been building. And now we see this player who, as if it's almost like a little miracle for the Oilers. They need a third line center. We've been talking about third line center all year long because Adam Henrique has slowed down and they don't want to move Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for obvious reasons off the top line. And here's this young guy, this big player who plays a strong defensive game and a strong forechecking game. And it's exciting, Kurt.
Yeah, 3 points on young Samansky tonight. And again, as you mentioned, his first NHL point, the face-off win on the Roslovic goal. The first thing I want to point out is that you said he was great 5-5 in the AHL. Well, he was great 5-5 tonight. Over at Natural Stat Trick, 5-5 in 10-28, he was 20-5, 80% CF against one of the better teams in the NHL, right?
Yeah, good defenseman on that team.
Yeah, right. They are. Secondly, you mentioned the physical aspect of it. The Wild are no shrinking violets either, and I didn't feel that Samansky struggled at any point with the physicality in this game. This is not, as you point out, an 18-year-old rookie. This is a 23-year-old young man. Big difference, right? Those 4 years, ask anybody, they make a big difference. Finally, what I see about him on the ice is he is almost always on the right side of the puck. He sees the zone very clearly, and he puts himself in a good defensive position pretty much every time he has a chance to.
The final thing I want to say him about is like they've had this need for a third line center, and I don't know if the plan was always to give him a shake, Samansky a shake, but when I think it was when Wallman came back from injury, they had a cap space issue, and they needed to send down Howard because of bonus money, and Samansky's cap hit is less. Mm-hmm. It's my understanding of what went down there. So maybe that's why Samansky got his chance. But I think it was really crucial for the Oilers to give this player a chance right about this time of year. They've got to know. They've got to know now if they need to trade for a third line center. Well, and there's a chance that they won't have to do that if he keeps playing like this. Hmm. So, it was a smart promotion from the Oilers. He got a little bit more ice time tonight, 11 minutes or so.
Yeah, 11:34.
So that's good. Like, get him some more. Like, see what he's got. Try him on the penalty kill, even. Like,
killed penalties in Bakersfield.
Yeah, he did. And Janmark may or may not be on the team in the playoffs. Is the truth. He might not be good enough to help the Oilers win in the playoffs. And if he's not, they're going to need another penalty killer. So I think I'd like to see that as well.
Finally, I want to point out that earlier in the season on one of these podcasts, you said that you thought Samansky would get a look at some point this year, and I kind of poo-pooed you. You were right, and I was wrong. I'll buy you a coffee for that one.
Oh, now we're even.
Right?
Yeah. All righty, Kurt. Your bad thing, Kurt.
Well, I think after the loss tonight, I think we're seeing how the Edmonton Oilers stack up in the Western Conference. I still believe this club is good enough to get out of the Pacific Division, but, the Western Conference may be a different pickle. We were swept in the season series by Minnesota. That's done now. We have played 6 games so far this season against Colorado, Dallas, and Minnesota, and we are over. Have not been able to beat any of the 3 best teams in the Western Conference. Now, the playoffs are a different thing, but I just think it must speak to Stan Bowman that there is a gap right now between this club and those 3.
So, as we're going to get to in a second, the gap tonight was largely goaltending. Mm-hmm. But let's say it's not that in the end. What do you think, what else might the gap be, Kurt? What would you say it is right now?
I'm really glad you asked that because, as you know, all the talk out there right now is a top 9 forward. And even our friend Bob keeps saying a top 9 forward with grit and speed. And while I get that a player like that may benefit the Edmonton Oilers, as I sit back and watch this team, David, nothing suggests to me that the Oilers need anything more than another good, solid veteran defenseman. So bring in all the bottom 6 forwards with toughness and speed that you like, I guess. But until you can not allow 7 goals in a game, maybe that, top 6 forward isn't the problem here.
I agree with we've been agreeing on this for a bit, Kurt. For a month.
Makes for bad radio, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And but we disagree with everybody else because I don't hear many people saying this.
No.
But it's something.
Practically every game I watch these guys and they think they need Brett Kulak, and I'm not trying to relitigate the Brett Kulak trade. Yeah. But a guy like that, right?
I was going to say the same thing, man. They missed Brett Kulak, and again, they needed to trade Stu Skinner. He needed to trade. The Oilers needed to trade him, and
part of Kulak was the money. Yeah. It was just
Kulak had to go. There was no one else that can make the money work.
Yep.
It's a tough moment for the Oilers to have to part with him because he's
Yep.
such a good player.
But I think that trade has exposed what they do need, right?
They were hoping Spencer Stastny would come in, and he good effort, but Spencer Stastny is definitely a seventh D man in the NHL, and someone you plug in if there's an injury, or an eighth D man, and Emberson is a 6 or a 7.
Yes, agreed. He's a Matt Benning.
He's okayish as a sixth D man.
Yeah.
He has good games and bad games, but he's not particularly fast and he's not particularly big, but he's smart and he's tough.
Yeah. Doesn't particularly move the puck well either.
No, he doesn't. They need someone who can move the puck. It's almost like they need another pairing, like one really big guy and one like John Klingberg kind of guy. Good luck finding that, but that's the need on the team. They've got to get another defenseman, and that should be their top. To me, it's becoming clearer and clearer, especially with Samansky now stepping up. He's the second forward to step up, Roslovic being the first this year. Well, Kapanen and now Samansky, right? Like all three of these guys are unexpected bonuses, which make up for some of the bitterness with what's happened with Mangiapane and, let's say, Frederick.
Yeah. And you have other forwards that are matriculating down in Bakersfield. What you don't have is defensemen matriculating.
Yeah, there's a big winger called Järventie. There's Howard and Hudson. There's
Järventie scored just a fabulous goal tonight. So
yeah, he's a big power forward. So it's like, I don't think you need a forward. In fact, you've got a lot of forwards, and between Kapanen and Roslovic, you're going to have to sign some of these guys, and it might be more tricky than you think.
Yeah, and after the Olympics, Adam Henrique's back.
And Henrique's back. So yeah, I'm like, I don't mind like if they bring in a big like tough fourth line guy like Michael McCarron from Nashville on the fourth line to be a really tough big guy that
like
can
an
help
energy
out in the
guy.
top. Yeah, but they need another defenseman. They really need
a better defenseman will win the Edmonton Oilers more playoff games than this bottom 9 forward that they're going to bring in.
Now, some people are going to say they might need a goalie. I'm not going to. I do not say that. But tonight, let's. This isn't rocket science. The difference in the game was that Tristan Jarry let in 2 or 3 bad goals.
Easy to argue 3, right?
Yeah, you could say 3.
2 for sure.
Yeah, and people will differ on what they are because that's the way it is with goaltending. But the ones that I didn't like, the goal, the game's 2-2, heading into the second period, and there's a face-off in the Oilers' end, and McDavid cleanly loses the draw. Hyman doesn't take the shooter, but the shooter's still pretty far out there. And as far as I can tell, Tristan Jarry sees the shot the whole way. He's at that side of the net. He's set. I just think he's got to have that shot. You don't see many people score on that shot for a reason, because NHL shooters, where the goalie's set,
and there's only one place that shot's coming from, right off the face-off,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So he's got to know that, and he seemed like he was too far over on one side of the net to me, and maybe a little too far in. Like, and
wouldn't be the only time he lost the post tonight.
It was not. So I didn't like that one. I thought that was a grade B scoring chance shot, and he should have had it. Although
I thought the next one was worse, though.
The next one was worse, and this one is a rush play where it starts off with first the Wild. The Oilers have been out there for a while. The puck goes to the Wild end, and their defensemen have it. Zach Hyman changes off, and then Connor McDavid, like 2 or 3 beats later, he changes off just as Quinn Hughes is rushing up the ice. It is a bad line change from Connor McDavid, and then Quinn Hughes rushes up the ice, and the middle of the ice is open because McDavid's left the ice, and he goes and gets a shot that Nurse kind of deflects wide, and then Nurse is just a wee bit slow, maybe, but really it's Tristan Jarry. There's just no way that should go in. He was just slow. He didn't get to the post. He didn't cover off that shot. There's no way it should have been a goal, and it's put in from a bad angle by Quinn Hughes. The next one, the one that got him pulled, was McDavid is late coming back on the check, and Ekholm kind of tries to force things at the blue line, and he gets beat, on the 3-on-2 rush, and now it's a 2-on-1. There's a cross-seam pass that it's put right in the net by a great shooter, Tarasenko. Kelly Harudi on Hockey Night in Canada also blamed Jari on that one. I feel like when there's a 2-on-1 and a cross-seam pass with a great shooter getting the shot, I'm less inclined to blame the goalie and more inclined to blame the defense on that one myself, but opinions will vary.
Well, I certainly agree there were circumstances in advance of that goal, but I thought he lost the post again. And
he did.
That shot was from enough of an angle that if he's positioned properly in goal, that hits him or misses the net.
That's true, Kurt. The reason cross-seam passes are so dangerous is that the goalies often, like, that's the time they are going to be, they got to move, right?
That's why you're making the pass.
So, yeah. So that's, you get the goalie moving and things happen. So I just, anyway, the third goal against, like, it was off the face-off. It's like everyone on the team is probably saying their choice curse word, whatever it is, in their own particular language. And it's a really tough goal off a face-off to be scored on like that. And then the one, it's just the 4-2 goal obviously is just a killer because then it's 4-2.
I saw it that way too.
You're just done. It's over.
Yeah. This is the Minnesota Wild, right? It's
maybe 1 in 20 games or 1 in 30 games you'll come back after 2 bad goals in a row. It's just so rare. Like, it does happen. It has happened. Yeah,
but not usually against good teams.
Not usually against good teams. Yeah, it's like, again, like at that point, it's like 1 in 30 chance they're going to come back in this game, as far as I was concerned, because the Wild are a good team. So Tristan Jarry hasn't had many bad starts, like maybe one other. Like nothing really comes to mind in a big way. Yeah. And the Oilers overall have let in a lot fewer, much lower rate of bad goals against since December 1st, since they became, started playing much better hockey.
His numbers sure ain't good though, David. I mean, his numbers are with the Oilers are pretty much the same as what Stuart Skinner's were when he left.
They're worse.
Not much. Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
They're worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. His save percentage, but Kurt, I think he's generally not let in that many bad goals. Like,
I do agree with you there. Yeah.
And there's been a lot. Like, the Oilers are still giving up. Like, even though they're playing much better as a team, they're been giving up the same high rate of grade A shots and 5 alarm shots all through the year. That hasn't improved. Their defensive play has not improved. Their offensive play, their puck possession game is amped up incredibly. But their defensive play still, let's face it, they're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. And you've said this. This is a point you've made repeatedly. They're not going anywhere. They are not going anywhere. Nowhere. Unless they improve their defensive play. They're allowing about 13 grade A shots a game. They've got to cut that by 2 to 11. Yeah. In other years, they were at 11 when they went to the Stanley Cup final. They've got work to do.
Yeah. If they keep defending like this, they're not getting out of the West. No way.
No way. I agree, Kurt. And another defenseman would help. Okay, your number.
For the people that are upset with the Oilers goaltending this evening, Connor Unger down in Bakersfield tonight won 3-2, made 51 saves, David. Oh. 51 saves for the Condors, who of course they're down. They were down 3 defensemen. Bo Akey's back wearing a full face shield, but the other 2 veterans are still out. They gave up 51. They gave up 53 shots tonight. He stopped 51 and they won 3-2. Wow, was right.
The other guy down there, I've been critical of the signing of, how it worked out in the end with Matt Tompkins, because he's an older goalie. He doesn't look like he's going to make the NHL, but he's been killing it, Matt Tompkins, in the last month.
Lately, yes.
I think he's feeling like, he might be feeling like, if I don't play well and they were to send Calvin Pickard to the minors, I might be the guy being sent out. And
here comes the ECHL, yeah.
Yeah, here comes the ECHL, and he doesn't want that. So he's been playing like crazy good as well. So
funny what competition does, huh?
It is, isn't it? It's the best tonic for any team, it seems. Although a good coaching goes a long way as well. and talented hockey players, lots of them.
Here's a tease for you. 9 things tomorrow morning. The focus is on the coaching staff. It is thing 1 on the 9 things.
Oh, good. All right, we'll just leave that as a teaser. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want, but
I won't. People can read and find out for themselves.
Kurt,
your number?
7. Connor McDavid made 7 mistakes on grade A shots against.
Ouch.
He averages about 1.5 a game. He's making a higher rate this year than he has in the past. He's made up for it with being by far the best offensive player on the planet Earth. Mm-hmm. So we don't bring it up a lot. I don't bring it up a lot. I don't mention it a lot because this is how it goes with a great offensive hockey player. Tonight, though, he was in the first period, he was wandering around, and he made a mistake. He lost a battle that led just a minute in to a grade A shot. Now, a second later, he had a breakaway, so that's McDavid. Then 5 minutes in, he makes another mistake and allows a pass, and then there's 3 grade A shots because of that. Then he makes mistakes on 3 goals. The face-off loss, the bad line change, and then a turnover and a weak back checking on the 5th goal. He just, I guess, I'll just put it down to every player has a bad night defensively, and he can be a good defensive player, and as you know. I really put a lot of weight in playoff performance. And Connor McDavid has been a good defensive hockey player in the playoffs for some time now. And he only has one problem, is that he overcommits chasing the puck now and then. He in a zone that can cause trouble in his own defense because you leave gaps then in the middle of the ice. But he hustles like crazy. He works like crazy. When he gets the puck on his stick, he gets it out of the Oilers' end. And he can be good, but he hasn't been that good this year defensively, and tonight was probably his weakest game.
Well, McDavid was -3 this evening. I'll say this about when he has a game like that. I'll set aside the line change because I think that's just a mental error, which is also rare from a really smart hockey player. I think a lot of the times when Connor starts to make these mistakes defensively, it's because he's attempting to carry the weight of the team on his shoulders. He does what a lot of players sometimes make the mistake of doing, is trying to do too much. And when you're in that position, we talk about this with Darnell Nurse all the time. If Darnell Nurse simplifies his game, he's a much better defenseman. If Connor McDavid doesn't cut those little corners to try and make up for a deficiency on defense with his team, this is a team that's coming from behind a lot, David. So you're going to press a little bit more. And I think some of those mistakes are not acceptable, but inevitable. But I certainly agree with your assessment. And I wasn't aware of the numbers, but you could kind of see his game was a little bit all over the place tonight, particularly in his own zone.
Yeah, there's this group of players on the Oilers who essentially try to do too much on defense. And that group, in my opinion, includes Podkolzin, Savoy, McDavid, and Nurse. They will overcommit towards the puck at times when they should be reading the play a little bit, backing off maybe now and then. But, and those are probably maybe Nurse accepted. Like Nurse struggled with the man-to-man a little bit, but like he would sometimes be following his player out past the blue line against Vegas in that year, and that's when they kind of changed their system. But I think they would all be good man-to-man defenders. Like that would suit them, their personalities at least.
Yeah.
But that's not the way they're playing it on the Oilers, and I think the Oilers system it's frustrating for people because it can be too passive.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of backing off and backing away. But I think it is the right system. And I think most NHL teams, not all NHL teams, but most of the NHL teams play zone, and they play it for a reason because the goals are scored from the slot. and you just want to cover the slot area. So
I wish I could be more convinced of that. I watch this team on a lot of nights and wonder if they really should be playing zone. And I know there are great supporters of zone defense who say when played well, it creates offense. And I buy that in theory, but the Edmonton Oilers aren't a normal hockey team. And I wonder if zone really fits their personnel.
they're not playing it well this year, Kurt. Like, listen, they've gone to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row with, let's say, inconsistent goaltending.
Yep.
And I think the zone defense has been part of that. I think that it was the right thing to do, the right system to bring in. And I also don't think they're changing it right now. Like
No.
they just so they need to think about the system and start to play the zone as well as they have the 2 previous years, because they're not doing it right now. I've had the same thought, Kurt. This isn't working. Like, so it's a rational thing to consider. Should they try something else?
Yeah.
Would something else be better?
Yeah.
But I think that what the better thing would
but
be,
not at the
for them to
56
play
game
the
mark.
zone better.
Yeah.
Just, the coaches are hammering on this zone defense.
Bear down.
Think about your assignment in the zone and do that.
Yeah.
Don't trust your instincts or whatever it is and chase the puck around the ice.
Yeah.
So they've got us. Some of them have to subvert their natural instinct to battle and to go for that puck and try to win it. And I think it's actually the biggest problem on the team defensively right now is there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of not trusting the zone, not trusting the system and playing the system. And it's leading to goals against. They're chasing the, like, even Ekholm on the 3-on-2 tonight, like he moves up, suddenly it's a 2-on-1, which is a much more dangerous situation. This was on the 5th goal, I believe, or the 4th goal. Must have been the 5th goal, yeah. And just trust the goalie to make a save. Trust your defensive partner to be in position. Play your position, and it's the only answer the Oilers can have this year, because they're not changing coaches and they're not changing the system.
Yep.
So, if a new coach came in next year and said, I'm from Tampa Bay. We were the best team in the league last year playing man-to-man defense, and we're playing man-to-man defense with this Oilers team. I'd say, okay, let's see it. Let's see it work. But I've seen the zone work. I've seen Knobloch's zone work. And
but have we seen it work consistently? I think the answer is no.
In the playoffs, right? 2 years in a row, we've seen it work consistently. To get to the finals, it hasn't worked in the finals because players start to try to do too much in the finals, I find. And they start to throw themselves, they start to get out of position. You really have to read the game. It's a really cerebral reading game when you're playing the zone.
I agree, but this goes back to my original point, David, which was the Oilers aren't a normal team. They're built differently than other teams, right? Yes. I think to expect Bob Gainey and Doug Jarvis out of these guys, I think, is irrational. And I think in a new season, if you're playing to your strength, they might be better in a man defense.
Yeah.
Moot point now, I realize. So let's revisit it in September.
Anyway, we've had the same thought, Kurt. This defense isn't working, and that is the truth. That is the truth.
Yep.
And they've got to get it to work. They've got to figure it out. Okay. Any other thoughts, Kurt? Any other things that you would like to add?
Yeah, one more quick one. I think a lot of people took a deep breath in early in the second period when Leon Draisaitl went off the ice with the trainer with his glove off of his hand, and he missed a couple of shifts before he came back again. Was looking at his finger on the ice, and then the trainer was over there working with his hand. It was clearly when he fell behind the net there, he hit or clunked something. And so when he came back and started taking his regular shift again, I, among thousands of others, were greatly relieved. Close call, but it looks like he came out of it okay.
Yeah, was it his hand?
It looked like his hand or even his pinky finger.
Yeah, maybe he just taped it up and
could have been.
Got out there again.
Yeah, God forbid.
they need all their players to be healthy.
Yes, they do.
There's not a huge margin for error. Listen, for any of these teams that are competing for the Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
and including the Colorado Avalanche, they are all so close in the end. And, there's probably like 3 or 4 teams right at the top who are a little bit better than everybody else right now. Mm-hmm. This can quickly change with the addition of one player and the subtraction of a player to one of the other teams. So,
and Colorado recently has come back down to earth a little bit as well. So your point's well taken.
Yeah. So the Oilers are going to need some real luck, but it's just going to be an interesting month, Kurt, to see where they end up because with the trade talk and what's going to be available. So the interesting thing is they seem to be pretty convinced that they're going to be able to get someone. And what's interesting, like they don't have cap space. Like they essentially have none. Until they trade Mangiapane, they just have none. And they have negative cap space. Once Henrique comes back. So I'm all eyes. I want to see what happens. I'm really curious to see what Bowman has up his sleeve.
You know my pat answer to this, right? Which is
I know you do, Kurt.
There's always more than one way to skin a cat.
Indeed. Kurt?
Other NHL general managers can figure it out. I'm sure Stan Bowman can too.
I think Stan Bowman's a pretty sharp guy. So
me too.
I agree. Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, David. It was a pleasure.
And thanks to the wisest, sharpest, sanest hockey fans in the world. Edmonton Oilers fans of the Cult of Hockey. And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.